Emulsifiers should never be used in bread, yet they're found in almost every UK loaf on supermarket shelves. They are one of the main reasons bread now causes bloating, discomfort, and that heavy feeling many people brush off as normal. These ingredients are added to control texture and extend shelf life, but inside the body, they change how bread behaves and how it is processed. Over time, this can negatively affect health and is one of the reasons for the weight gain many people now associate with eating bread. What's shocking is that emulsifiers are only the beginning. Modern UK bread contains a growing list of ingredients that were never meant to be eaten every day, yet most families consume several of them without realising. In this video, I'm calling out 8 ingredients currently used in UK bread that many people don't even know are there, and I'll explain exactly why they don't belong. Let's get started. 8. Calcium propionate. Calcium propionate is one of those ingredients that sounds harmless at first glance. The word calcium feels reassuring, even familiar, which is why most people never question it when they spot it on a bread label. Many shoppers assume it's added for nutrition, or at the very least that it's there for a good reason. Bread, after all, has always been a basic, everyday food. In reality, calcium propionate is added to bread for one main purpose: to stop mold from growing. It allows loaves to sit on shelves for days, sometimes weeks, without visibly going off. Traditional bread didn't need this. It went stale or mouldy naturally, and that was a clear signal that it was time to throw it away. Modern bread, however, is designed to resist those natural signs. This is where concerns begin. Calcium propionate works by creating an environment where mold and bacteria struggle to survive. The question many people are now asking is simple. If an ingredient is strong enough to suppress mold growth, what does long-term exposure mean for the human digestive system? Especially when bread is eaten daily, sometimes multiple times a day. Some people report headaches, digestive discomfort, or a general sense that bread no longer sits right with them, even when the ingredient list looks short. While reactions vary, the unease comes from how normalized this additive has become. It's no longer limited to niche or long-life products. It's found in everyday loaves bought for breakfast, sandwiches, and toast. What makes this more troubling is that calcium propionate exists purely to support industrial efficiency. It benefits transport, storage, and profit margins, not the person eating the bread. Its presence is a sign that bread is no longer made with freshness in mind, but longevity. And calcium propionate is considered one of the milder additions. Wait until you see what's coming next, because the next ingredient is added not to stop bread going bad, but to force it to behave in ways dough never naturally would. 7. Datem. After preservatives that stop bread from going mouldy, the next ingredient exists for a different reason entirely. This one isn't about keeping bread fresh, it's about forcing it to look and feel the way modern shoppers expect. Datem is added to bread to control structure. It helps dough rise higher, hold its shape, and stay soft even when it's been rushed through industrial production. Without it, many mass-produced loaves would collapse, tear, or come out uneven. In other words, Datem allows bread to be made faster than dough naturally allows. This is where bread quietly changed. Traditional dough relies on time, fermentation, and careful handling. Datem removes that dependency. It strengthens dough artificially, making it more tolerant to mechanical mixing, freezing, and rapid baking. The loaf looks perfect, slices cleanly, and stays soft for days. All signs of good bread in a supermarket setting. Inside the body, however, this kind of manipulation raises concerns. Bread made with Datem is designed to behave unnaturally from the very first stage. Many people notice that it feels heavier, less satisfying, or harder to digest, even when portion sizes haven't changed. You eat the same sandwich, yet feel different afterwards. What unsettles a lot of shoppers is how unnecessary this ingredient is outside industrial baking. Home bakers don't use it, traditional bakeries don't rely on it. It exists almost exclusively to support scale, speed, and consistency. Its presence is a quiet indicator that the bread wasn't allowed to develop on its own terms. For people trying to eat more simply, Datem represents a bigger issue. It shows how far bread has moved away from being food made through a natural process and toward being a product engineered to survive machinery, transport, and long shelf life. And once dough starts being chemically supported to behave, it rarely stops with just one additive. The next ingredient pushes this even further, not by strengthening dough, but by altering how fats and water behave inside bread, changing how filling it actually feels once you eat it. 6. Mono and diglycerides. Have you ever noticed how most supermarket bread now feels almost identical, no matter which brand you buy? The slices are uniformly soft, slightly rubbery, and flexible enough to bend without tearing. Even several days after opening, the bread barely changes. That consistency isn't natural, and it isn't accidental. Mono and diglycerides are added to bread to keep it soft and stable for as long as possible. They work by forcing fats and water to stay mixed in a way they normally wouldn't. This slows down staling and prevents the crumb from drying out, which is why bread can feel fresh long after it's been baked. Think back to how bread used to behave. After a day or two, it hardened. Toast became brittle. Sandwich bread crumbled or lost its elasticity. Those changes were natural signals. Modern bread, however, often skips those stages entirely. It stays soft, but something about it feels wrong. Many people notice they can eat a sandwich and feel full for only a short time. The satisfaction fades quickly, leaving them hungry again sooner than expected. This isn't just about portion size. Bread engineered to stay soft and uniform can break down differently during digestion, which affects how the body recognizes fullness. These ingredients are not added for flavor, nutrition, or quality. They exist to help bread survive industrial processes: high-speed mixing, slicing machines, packaging, transport, and extended shelf storage. Mono and diglycerides allow bread to tolerate all of this without falling apart. What's concerning is how normal this has become. These additives appear not only in white bread, but also in brown, seeded, and even loaves marketed as wholesome or family favorites. Softness has been rebranded as freshness, even though the two are no longer the same thing. For people trying to understand why bread now feels heavier, less satisfying, or harder to tolerate, this ingredient is an important piece of the puzzle. It marks the point where bread stops behaving like a simple combination of flour and water and starts behaving like a manufactured product. And once bread is designed to override natural signals like staling and texture, it opens the door to even more manipulation. The next ingredient goes beyond texture altogether, affecting how food interacts with the gut itself. And that's where many people begin to feel the real consequences. 5. Emulsifiers. If bread regularly leaves you feeling bloated, heavy, or uncomfortable, this is often where the explanation starts. Emulsifiers are added to modern bread to control texture and consistency, forcing ingredients that don't naturally mix to stay bound together. They've become a quiet foundation of industrial bread making, and most people consume them far more often than they realize. In simple terms, emulsifiers help dough behave. They allow factories to mix faster, shape more aggressively, and bake at speed without the loaf collapsing. They also help bread stay soft and uniform for longer. From a production standpoint, they solve a lot of problems. From a health standpoint, they raise questions that were never an issue when bread was made more simply. Inside the body, emulsifiers can change how food breaks down in the gut. Instead of digesting gradually, bread can feel as though it passes through too quickly or sits awkwardly, leaving people uncomfortable without knowing why. This is why some people say bread no longer agrees with them, even though they've eaten it their whole lives. There's also the issue of fullness. Many people notice they can eat a sandwich and feel hungry again surprisingly soon. The texture is soft, easy to chew, and easy to swallow, but it doesn't satisfy in the way bread once did. When food is engineered to be this uniform, the body's natural signals of fullness can be disrupted. What makes emulsifiers particularly troubling is how invisible they are. They appear across white, brown, seeded, and even lighter or family loaves. Packaging rarely highlights them, and shoppers aren't warned that bread has become one of the main sources of these additives in the modern diet. Before we go any further, if this is helping you understand what's really in everyday food, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It helps more people find clear, practical explanations like this. At a deeper level, emulsifiers represent a shift in how bread is made. Instead of relying on time, fermentation, and natural structure, texture is now engineered. Bread is designed to survive machines, transport, and long shelf lives, even if that means the body has to work harder to deal with it. Emulsifiers are rarely used alone. Once bread is built to override natural behavior, it opens the door to ingredients that go even further. The next one often surprises people because it doesn't just affect digestion or texture, it quietly changes what bread does to your body over time. 4. Ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid is one of the most misleading ingredients you'll find in modern bread, largely because most people know it by another name, vitamin C. When shoppers see it listed, it feels familiar and reassuring. Many assume it's been added for nutritional reasons, or at least that it's doing something positive. In reality, that assumption couldn't be further from the truth. In bread making, ascorbic acid has nothing to do with health. It's used as a flour treatment agent, added specifically to strengthen dough and speed up production. Its role is to make weaker flour behave like stronger flour, allowing dough to be mixed harder, shaped faster, and baked sooner without falling apart. This is one of the reasons supermarket bread can be produced at such speed. Think about how bread used to be made. Dough was allowed time to rest and ferment, which naturally developed structure and flavor. That process also helped break down certain compounds, making bread easier to digest. Ascorbic acid replaces much of that time. Instead of patience, chemistry is used to force results. This shift matters for how bread feels once it's eaten. Many people notice that modern bread feels heavier, sits longer in the stomach, or causes discomfort they never experienced before. While this is often blamed on gluten or aging, the real issue is frequently how the bread was made. Rushed dough behaves differently inside the body. There's also a trust issue here. Calling this ingredient vitamin C creates a false sense of benefit. Shoppers are led to believe something helpful has been added, when in reality the ingredient serves the factory, not the consumer. It doesn't improve nutrition, flavor, or quality. It simply allows bread to be made faster and cheaper. What ascorbic acid really represents is a turning point. It marks the moment bread stopped being a product of time and process and became something engineered to meet industrial demands. Once that door is opened, other ingredients quickly follow to support the same system. And the next ingredient does exactly that. Not by strengthening dough, but by introducing something many people would never expect to find in a basic loaf, yet consume far more often than they realize. 3. Soya flour. Soya flour is one of the most unexpected ingredients people discover in modern bread, mainly because it doesn't match what most of us understand bread to be. When you think of bread, you think of wheat, yeast, water, and salt, not soya. Yet many UK supermarket loaves now contain it, quietly listed among the ingredients most shoppers skim past. From a production point of view, soya flour is useful. It helps dough absorb more water, improves elasticity, and makes the mixture easier to handle by machines. This allows factories to produce bread quickly and consistently, even when using lower quality wheat flour. The loaf looks uniform, slices cleanly, and holds together well, all things modern bread is expected to do. But this convenience comes at a cost. Many people notice that bread now feels different once eaten. It can feel heavier, sit awkwardly in the stomach, or cause bloating that wasn't common years ago. Others describe feeling full initially, only to feel hungry again much sooner than expected. While these effects are often blamed on gluten, the issue is frequently the combination of added ingredients, rather than wheat itself. Soya flour also raises concerns because of how hidden it is. Soya is a recognized allergen, yet bread is rarely associated with it in people's minds. Someone may carefully avoid soya in obvious foods, only to unknowingly consume it every day through sandwiches or toast. Bread becomes a constant, unintentional source. There's also the question of necessity. Traditional bread doesn't require soya to function. It rose, baked, and nourished people long before this ingredient appeared. Its inclusion today is not about improving nutrition or flavor, but about making bread compatible with industrial processes that prioritize speed and predictability. For people trying to simplify their diet, this is often where frustration sets in. Bread used to be one of the simplest foods available. Now it borrows ingredients from completely different categories to keep the system running smoothly. Soya flour is rarely used alone. It's part of a wider pattern where bread is adjusted and reinforced until it no longer behaves like a natural food. The next ingredient continues this trend, not by altering structure, but by changing how bread feels in the body over time. 2. Vegetable oils. One of the least questioned changes in modern bread is the addition of vegetable oils. Most people barely register it when they see it on a label, because oils have become normalized in processed food. But if you stop and think about it, traditional bread never needed oil at all. Flour, water, yeast, salt, and thyme were enough to create something filling and satisfying. Vegetable oils are added to modern bread for one main reason: softness. They slow down the staling process and keep the loaf flexible for longer, allowing it to survive transport, storage, and days on supermarket shelves without drying out. This is why bread today can be bent, squeezed, or folded long after it's been opened and still feel fresh. The problem is that this softness comes at a cost. Oils increase the calorie density of bread without increasing how full it makes you feel. Many people notice that bread now seems to contribute to gradual weight gain, even when their eating habits haven't dramatically changed. You eat the same toast or sandwich, but it quietly delivers more energy than your body needs. There's also a noticeable change in how bread feels after eating. People often describe feeling sluggish, heavy, or slightly tired after meals that include bread. This isn't dramatic or immediate, which is why it's so easy to dismiss. But over time, regularly consuming oil-enriched bread can subtly affect energy levels and appetite. Another issue is how widespread this practice has become. Vegetable oils aren't limited to white loaves or clearly processed products. They appear in brown bread, seeded loaves, and even options marketed as healthier choices. The oil isn't there for nutrition or flavor. It's there to meet modern expectations of softness and shelf life. Think back to how bread used to behave. When it went stale, that was a signal to stop eating it. Now bread resists those natural signals. It stays soft and palatable longer, making it easier to eat more without noticing. This shift makes bread easier to overconsume, especially when it's eaten daily. For people trying to understand why bread now feels more fattening or less satisfying than it once did, vegetable oils are a key part of the answer. They quietly transform a simple staple into a more energy-dense product that doesn't trigger the same sense of fullness. When bread starts relying on oils to override natural limits, it shows how far the product has drifted from its original purpose. The next ingredient takes this even further, because it's added not for texture or shelf life, but to actively change how bread tastes and behaves in the body every single day. 1. Added sugar. This is the ingredient that surprises people the most because bread is not supposed to be sweet. When most shoppers think about sugar, they think of desserts, snacks, or fizzy drinks, not something as basic as toast or a sandwich. Yet, added sugar has quietly become a standard part of many UK loaves, often without drawing any attention at all. Sugar is added to bread for multiple reasons, none of them related to nutrition. It helps yeast work faster, which shortens production time. It improves browning, giving bread a more appealing crust, and it enhances taste, making bread more comforting and easier to eat. From an industrial perspective, sugar helps bread look and behave the same every time. From a health perspective, it changes how bread affects the body. Many people notice that bread now triggers hunger rather than satisfaction. You eat a sandwich, feel briefly full, and then find yourself reaching for another snack not long after. This isn't just about portion size or self-control. Added sugar causes quicker rises in blood sugar, followed by drops that leave the body looking for more fuel. Over time, this pattern becomes familiar. Bread stops feeling like a neutral staple and starts behaving more like a refined snack. For people trying to manage weight, energy levels, or blood sugar, this can quietly work against them. They may cut back on obvious sweets while unknowingly consuming sugar through something they eat every day. What makes this especially concerning is that sugar appears in bread that isn't marketed as sweet. It's found in everyday white loaves, brown bread, rolls, wraps, and even products positioned as family staples. Shoppers don't expect it, and packaging rarely makes it obvious. Bread becomes a hidden contributor to daily sugar intake. There's also a behavioral effect. Bread with added sugar is easier to overeat. It tastes better, feels more comforting, and encourages repeat consumption. This is one reason bread is now closely linked to gradual weight gain and constant hunger, even among people who believe they're eating sensibly. Historically, bread didn't need sugar to function. Fermentation developed flavor naturally, and crust color came from time and heat. The addition of sugar marks one of the final steps in turning bread from a simple, sustaining food into a carefully engineered product designed to keep people buying and eating more. When you look back over everything covered, preservatives to stop mold, additives to force structure, ingredients to keep bread soft, oils to increase calorie density, and sugar to drive appetite, a clear picture emerges. Modern bread is no longer built around nourishment. It's built around performance, convenience, and consumption. When you step back and look at everything we've covered, one thing becomes clear. Bread didn't suddenly become a problem by accident. It changed slowly, ingredient by ingredient, until something that was once simple became heavily engineered. Preservatives were added to stop mold. Additives were introduced to force structure. Emulsifiers and stabilizers were used to control texture. Vegetable oils increased softness and calorie density. Sugar was added to drive taste and repeat consumption. None of these changes were made with the person eating the bread in mind. They were made to help bread move faster through factories, last longer on shelves, and look the same every time, even if it no longer behaves the same inside the body. That's why so many people now say bread leaves them bloated, sluggish, or unsatisfied. That's why weight gain is often blamed on age or willpower, when the real issue is how everyday foods have been quietly altered. You're not imagining it, and you're not alone. The good news is that this doesn't mean you have to give up bread entirely. It means you need clarity. Fewer ingredients, shorter labels, bread that goes stale naturally instead of resisting it. Products made with time, not chemical shortcuts. As a simple rule, the longer and more technical the ingredient list, the further that bread has drifted from what it used to be. If a loaf needs multiple additives to function, it's no longer designed for nourishment. It's designed for performance. If this video helped you understand what's really been going on, share it with someone you shop for or eat with. A lot of people feel something is wrong with food today, but can't quite explain it. And if you want more clear, honest breakdowns of everyday products and without hype or confusion, subscribe to the channel. This is about helping people make informed choices, not scaring them.